I came across two unique values.
Oh.
One is Kiasu, and the second one is Singlish.
Just as you have Konglish in Korea, you have Denglish in Germany, you have Singlish in Singapore.
Sometimes we use English with a lot of Hindi words mixed with yeah.
Just because you've added a meh or a la at the end of your sentence, you're speaking Singlish. You say, so hot today, la.
Train and flight tickets that similar to the German angst, like we need to fix things, everything should be organized.
Your newness have worn off. There are other new people for them.
The Germans, also the Scandinavians, they have their own private space. And walking inside the private space is kind of intrusion. So
yeah.
Singapore, if it's a day or night, it is a wonderful experience. In this episode, I have Ming with me. Ming is a Singaporean living and working in Germany for a long time. She is an intercultural trainer and a friend of mine. In this episode, Ming is going to explain some interesting intercultural tips on Singapore, which includes Singaporean cultural values like Kiasu and Singlish. Let's go to the interview. So, hi everyone. In this episode, I have Ming with me. And today, Ming is going to give us some interesting tips on Singaporean culture. So let us welcome Ming. And Ming, could you please start by introducing yourself?
Oh, thank you very much, Jinu. Hi, everybody. My name is Ming. I live in Frankfurt, Germany, though I'm originally from Singapore. So because I live in Europe, I use my name this way. I don't know if you can see it, Ming Wong. So Ming is the personal name and Wong is the family name. In Europe, you have the family name, or in Germany, you have the family names at the back. But of course, since I'm originally from Singapore, the traditional way is to write the family name in front. So it's Wong Ming Yi. But I got a bit tired of people calling me Frau Yi or Frau Ming. It's like calling you Mr. Jinu instead of Mr. Japalan. I do a variety of things. I would say that I'm an active member of the geek economy. I like to use the phrase portfolio career because you don't have to do just one thing. So I teach English at universities. I also do testing for the for English language exams, and it's under the framework of the European language certificates. I also write a newsletter for Germans who would like to read about business topics in English. And you've very kindly given me interviews for that newsletter. Thank you very much, Jinu. And of course, I also do intercultural training, briefing, and just kind of like help people, usually European expatriates who are going to Asia, in particular Singapore, and vice versa, welcoming Asians, in particular Singaporeans, Malaysians, Southeast Asians coming to Germany. So that is a part of the work I enjoy very much because I get to talk about my country, my favorite part of the world, which is Southeast Asia.
So while I was interacting with Singaporean culture, I came across two unique values. One is Kiasu and the second one is Singlish.
Ah.
So could you please explain what is a Kiasu and what is Singlish to our audience?
Well, let's start with Singlish then.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's too simplistic just to say that it is the local dialect. As you know, Singapore is actually an integration of many people of different ethnicities as well as different languages. So our official languages are Malay, which is the language of the indigenous people. Um, uh, Officially now Mandarin. It didn't used to be just Mandarin because you know the Chinese of Singapore come from all over China. So there are many, many types of Chinese. There are many different Chinese dialects in Singapore, and Tamil. And a lot of people say, why Tamil? Because it is not the most extensive Indian language. Well, that's because the majority of Indians originally come from the southern states. So that's why Hindi is not a language that's known to us. Or it's known, but we don't have that many Hindi speakers. So, but we have a lot of Tamil speakers. I actually have a Tamil side of the family because my sister was married to a Tamil. Then, of course, because of colonial history, English is an official language as well, and frankly speaking, the most extensive language because, in a sense, because it comes from elsewhere, it was a neutral enough language for everybody in school to learn. And of course, it is the language of science, politics, and economy. So all these languages together have come together to influence the emergence of Singlish. Just as you have Konglish in Korea, you have Denglish in Germany, you have Singlish in Singapore. And that's what we mean. Now, I don't like it when people kind of like make fun of Singlish. I mean, you should make fun of it because it's a very charming language. I actually say language. I don't even use the word dialect because I think it's fully fledged and developed as a language. And it's been documented for the last 40 or 50 years academically. Um, it's also very much a language of the people. The Singapore government doesn't actually support it. You know, they're kind of like embarrassed about it. But you know, everybody speak it, whether you're a doctor, a university professor, or a food court seller, or a bus driver. So it's influenced by different languages, so that it's created its own vocabulary. It's definitely got an element of code switching so that within one sentence you could have a variety of languages. It embraces Singaporeans' love for abbreviations. You know, when we say something like, "Oh, I cannot tahan the government. Today I must go to MINDEF to collect my passport." So that, for example, you see, it's an embrace of abbreviation, MINDEF, which is Ministry of Defense. Government is pronounced garment. So in a way, there's a lot of contractions of words. So the Singlish is also therefore seen in pronunciation. It's seen in the use of Chinese words, Malay words. It's another prominent feature is the use of N particles. Like law and math. Why are you so like that lah? You know, and you've got to be careful and not think that just because you've added a meh or a la at the end of your sentence, you're speaking Singlish. You say, so hot today lah. You know, a lot of expatriates or foreigners do that, and you think that they are speaking Singlish. You might not realize that some people might think, oh, are you making fun of me? Are you saying that my English is not good enough? So sometimes I tell my clients, maybe if it doesn't come out naturally, you're not there yet. If it comes out naturally, in other words, you don't even realize you've used it, then you've arrived at Singlish. And then, of course, the tone. Like that law, like that word. You know, you see lah. So you see, the tone makes a difference. It gives meaning as well. So I've described some of those features of it. Another thing I like about Singlish is that it's extremely visual, Jinu. You know how in English when you're very frustrated, you say, oh, I've told him 1,000 times and he still doesn't get it. I'm so tired. That's standard English. And in Singlish, you say, "Oh, I told him a million times that guy, yeah, he can't get it. I vomit blood, you know. You know, the idea of vomiting blood coming from the back from your inside. That's so visual.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that about Singlish.
That's really interesting, yeah. Because even in India also we have the different, we have a lot of languages. So when we use English, many things will comes in when it comes to pronunciation, sometimes accent. So
Right.
yeah, correctly relate to that. So sometimes we use English with a lot of Hindi words mixed with English. Yeah. So
Oh, that's
so
all right. You know, code switching is good. Maybe you should tell your subscribers that there's been research to say that constant learning and language code switching is supposed to keep the mind alert. So maybe if we're lucky, we could stave off dementia for a while. I guess if we all live long enough, we all become, you know, demented, I suppose. Yeah.
yeah,
You are interested in learning more about Singlish, I must say that there's a book that I've been reading at the moment. It's actually written by a Singaporean writer and academic, Dr. Dr. Gui Lee Sui, and he's written a book about Singlish, and it's actually called Speaking Singlish, a companion to how Singaporeans communicate. You see, and the interesting thing is, it's actually written in Singlish, so it's a really fun book to read. It's published by Marshall Cavendish, you know. I think it's published, but yes, it is. Okay. So there you are. I don't know the writer personally, so this is not a plug, but this is just something that I really enjoy reading, and I feel that it's done a really good job on
great.
describing the language that we've been talking about. Back to the word kiasu, I wanted to set the context for that word. So kiasu is written like this, Kia, Kia, S-U, Su, and it actually comes from a Southern Chinese dialect, Hokkien. Kiasu means fear. Kia is fear. What Kia? It means I'm scared. I'm so frightened. You know, I scared. You know, that's English. Or I very kia. You know, this exam that's coming up. You know, Su is to lose. So the idea of the fear of losing. So it's really in terms of our intercommunication industry. You know, when we talk about intercultural dimensions, it's closest to the fear of uncertainty, the uncertainty avoidance complex. We don't know what's happening. We are afraid we might lose out. You know, in English today, you have fear of losing out, FOMO, right? So what will you do then if you have a kiasu attitude? If you want to watch the BTS concert, right? And you
Yeah.
know that the ticketing starts at 10 o'clock. You camped the night before at the ticket booth, or you are at the computer all ready to tap away badly. That's what you do. If you think the train might be late, then what do? You take the service before, that sort of thing.
Okay.
You apply in advance. You bring extra money. You check out the room in advance. In other words, you tend not to take chances. You tend to be very organized and prepared. Singaporeans aren't the only kiasu people around. Germans are very, very kiasu. The other type that will book for their holidays months in advance, they will get up in the morning and go to the beach and put the towel on the deck chairs. This is my seat. And I think every nationality probably has some element of Kiasuism in them. Are Indians the type to be very
Uh,
prepared?
yes, I also see similar behavior with the booking the tickets for the movie or yeah, the train and flight tickets that similar to the German angst, like now we need to fix things, everything should be organized, but not on everything. But in
Yeah.
few things, yes, there is a kias element also in
In
it.
fact, I think digital and technology has made people kiasu, especially post-COVID. If you want to travel, I've been told, you must have heard about the travel chaos in Germany in the last few weeks. If you're not kiasu, you have no ticket, you have no
It's true.
accommodation, you can't go anywhere, so stay at home.
That's true. Yeah. Now, how is this Kiasu applicable to a workplace?
Yes,
Uh,
I would
what-
say that it does make people competitive. You know, it's like look at this. You know, you think that the supermarket will run out of flour and oil, which might be really true. You know, so what do people do? They go out and sweep the shelves, so it's empty. That's Kiasuism. So yeah, it definitely make people a little bit competitive. They make them hoarders, but they also make them organized.
Yeah.
Put it this way, if I have to work on a team, I would actually like my colleagues to be a little bit more of a planner and organized type. If you know, like Jinu, we know we were supposed to meet, but guess what? We both logged on a little bit earlier. So we don't want to be, caught being late and being thought of as being inconsiderate for the other person. So I think a little bit of kiasuism at work is not a bad thing. You know, if I were giving an interview or if I were interviewing a prospective recruit, I might ask a few questions to see if he or she is the last minute type, which can be fun. Being spontaneous can be fun, but if you're working with certain culture, it bears to be a little bit more organized.
Yeah. 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 So, what are some of the do's and don'ts in Singaporean culture?
Well, it's kind of I think it's hard. I know people like do's and don'ts, but it's difficult to lump millions of people under one
Yeah.
category, So it's kind of difficult. And in Singapore, you mustn't forget that about one quarter of the population is from elsewhere. And I don't mean in the sense of it being elsewhere from, I mean, I'm a born Singaporean, I'm first generation Singaporean. But of course, being Chinese, mean there is certain aspects, that obsession with food, for example. So it's hard to kind of like lump it under some categories, but I would say um, um, one difference is timing,
Mhm.
in the
Yeah.
sense that when you first enter a culture, I think Asians as a whole um, quite curious about new people, quite welcoming,
Okay.
and we manifest that curiosity by asking questions.
Exactly.
How old are you? Are you married? Have you got brothers and sisters? What does your father do? Blah blah blah. And Europeans, especially Germans, might be more concerned about, they're more cautious. It's
Yeah.
not that they're unfriendly, but they're very respectful of your privacy and of their own privacy. So they might not be so forthwith with questions or invitations. So I can imagine a new guy coming into a company that's full of Asians, and they might say, "Come on, Jürgen, let's go out to eat this. You must try this, you must try that." And Jürgen, being new and tired and coping with tropical heat and
Yeah.
monsoon, missing his family, might prefer to be left alone. So he starts saying no to all these invitations. After a few months, he says, "Well, actually, these people are really nice and pleasant. Oh, they're really kind." And then he might start asking people to do things. But these people, your newness have worn off. There are other new people for them. Plus, they think, well, when we asked you to go out, you weren't so interested. So I guess you're not interested in us. So they've moved on. So I think very often what happens is people become ships that pass in the night. I'm interested in you, but you're not interested in me. Now you're interested in me, but sorry, I'm busy. So that kind of a situation, this is something I would describe to, say, maybe a German family going to Singapore, and I might say, um, don't say no if you have to, and if you want to, of course, you shouldn't have to accept every invitation, but you could say it in such a way that the doors remain open.
Yeah.
We're just settling in with so much to do, and we're still coping with the heat and the local food. When we're a little bit settled, maybe we can do something together, something like that. But don't just say a very curt, leave me alone kind of no, because that will happen. People will leave you alone.
The Germans and also the Scandinavians, they have their own private space, and
Hmm.
walking inside the private space is kind of intrusion. So
Yeah.
some kind of questions, be extra careful. So I also give advice to the expats who are going through Germany, especially from Asia, to bring down their curiosity level to a little bit, at least in the beginning. There are a lot of questions like, are you married? If you are married, do you have children? If you don't have children, why not? So such questions are
Yes.
very
Well,
common.
for example, I once had a course participant. He was learning conversational English. Now, this is conversational English. So, of course, I'm doing my bit as the course instructor. I asked, oh, so why are you learning English? Do you need it for work? Are you going on a business trip? Or do you have an American girlfriend? Things like that. I am establishing motivation, criteria, rationale for why you're doing this course so that I can better help you. But the gentleman really, I could see from his body language, he didn't welcome the questions. He froze and said in German, oh, Sie sind sehr neugierig, oder? You're rather curious, aren't you? And I realized he felt that I was intruding. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. He saw it as being intrusive. I saw it as being helpful. And I was thinking, wait, well, this is conversational English. How are we going to have a conversation if you're not going to give me answers that I can work on, But a lot of it is, as I said, sometimes you need to be patient, not jump to conclusions immediately. He did warm up a lot more later.
Exactly. I think we had a wonderful session, short and Ming. I think we're going to catch up again for some exciting sessions in the coming future. So looking forward. And thank you very much for your time.
You have a good day yourself, yeah? Okay, bye.